Okay, let's talk about breastfeeding. It's this incredible journey, right? But let's be real, it can also be full of questions and, honestly, some pretty big challenges. If you've ever felt like you're just stuck in this loop of feeding, then a fussy baby, then more feeding, you are so not alone. So let's get into what might really be going on here. So, does this sound familiar to you? You've just wrapped up what felt like a really good feeding session. You finally get your baby settled, you sit down, you're about to take that first sip of coffee, and they're awake again, acting like they haven't eaten in hours. It's completely exhausting, and it can really make you start to second guess everything. And it's not just the constant hunger, is it? Maybe you're also noticing your little one seems super uncomfortable. Lots of fussing, they're pulling their little legs up to their chest. They just seem unhappy, and it really looks like they're struggling with some painful gas and bloating. And here's the big one, the one that can send a new parent into a total panic spiral. You open up that diaper expecting to see that typical mustard yellow color, but instead it's green. It's such a distinct sign, and believe it or not, it's often tied directly to those other two things we just talked about. Now, what if I told you that all three of these problems, the constant hunger, the gassiness, and the green poop, could all be traced back to one single really common misunderstanding about how breastfeeding actually works. And the best part? It is incredibly easy to fix. So this is where we get into the secret. See, a lot of us just assume that breast milk is, milk. But the truth is, it's not the same liquid from the beginning of a feed to the end. It actually changes. It transforms right in the middle of a feeding. And understanding that change is the key to solving this whole puzzle. It is such a fascinating process. Don't think of it like a bottle of formula where every drop is the same. Think of it more like a full-course meal served from one place. Nature designed it this way for a really, really good reason. Okay, so when your baby first latches, what they're getting is called formilk. You can think of this as their drink. It's kind of thin, watery, and it's higher in sugar, lactose to be specific. Its main job is just to quench your baby's thirst and give them a quick little jolt of energy. But then, as the feeding goes on, the milk starts to change. This next phase is the hind milk, and this stuff is totally different. It's much richer, it's creamier, and it is packed with all the fats and proteins that are going to actually satisfy your baby's hunger and make them feel full. This is the main course. So, to put it super simply, foremilk is the hydrating drink that takes care of thirst. Hind milk is the rich, fatty meal that makes them feel full and satisfied. And a baby really needs to get to that main course to feel like they've had a complete meal. So, what happens when a baby gets the drink, but they miss out on the main course? Well, their little body sends out some really clear signals, and we can totally learn how to read them. So this imbalance, getting a lot of that watery foremilk but not enough of the fatty hind milk, that's the real root cause of all those frustrating symptoms we mentioned earlier. It's not about how much milk you have, it's about whether your baby is getting the complete feed. And this imbalance is what causes everything. The quick hunger, well, that happens because the sugary foremilk digests really fast, but the baby never got the fat from the hind milk to make them feel full. The gas and bloating, that's from too much of that milk sugar, the lactose, just kind of fermenting in their gut. And that classic green stool, it's a direct result of that sugary milk moving through their system way too quickly. Okay, so we figured out the problem, we get the science behind it. Now for the most important part, the solution. And you are going to be so relieved when you hear how simple this is. Here it is. The number one mistake is thinking that you have to offer both breasts at every single feeding. When you switch from the first side to the second one too soon, what you might be doing is accidentally giving your baby a double dose of foremilk and they never get enough of that rich hind milk from either side. Ah, yes, this is the classic scenario, isn't it? Your baby eats for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, gets all sleepy, and dozes off. But then, a little while later, they're wide awake and screaming for more food. Your first instinct is probably to offer the other fresh breast, but that is the one thing we need to avoid. So here's the rule that can change everything for you. First, let your baby drain one breast as completely as you can. Now, if they have one of those short feeds and then wake up hungry again, don't switch. You're going to put them right back on the very same side. This is the most important part. This ensures they get past the watery foremilk and finally get to that rich, satisfying hind milk that was waiting for them. By finishing that one side, you're making sure your baby gets the complete meal. They get their drink from the foremilk, and more importantly, they get all the calories and fat from the hind milk. And that leads to a baby who is finally full, more comfortable, and just all around happier. So, let's just bring all of this together into one simple, really powerful idea that you can start using like right now. This is the phrase you need to remember, your new mantra. You want to shift your focus away from equal time on each side and instead focus on finishing the first breast first. The whole point of a feeding is to give a complete meal, and that happens when one side is emptied out. It's kind of amazing, right? How one little tweak in your technique can make such a massive difference. Just by understanding these two types of milk and making it a priority to finish one side first, you might just find the answer to a much more peaceful, satisfying, and comfortable breastfeeding experience for both of you.